أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. وهو الذي يحيي ويميت وله اختلاف الليل والنهار أفلا تعقلون بل قالوا مثل ما قال الأولون قالوا أإذا متنا وكنا ترابا وعظاما أإنا لمبعوثون لقد وعدنا نحن وآباؤنا هذا من قبل إن هذا إلا أساطير الأولين قل لمن الأرض ومن فيها إن كنتم تعلمون سيقولون لله قل أفلا تذكرون قل من رب السماوات السبع ورب العرش العظيم سيقولون لله قل أفلا تتقون قل من بيده ملكوت كل شيء وهو يجير ولا يجار عليه إن كنتم تعلمون سيقولون لله قل فأنى تسحرون بل أتيناهم بالحق وإنهم لكاذبون ما اتخذ الله من ولد وما كان معه من إله إذا لذهب كل إله بما خلق ولعلى بعضهم على بعض سبحان الله عما يصفون عالم الغيب والشهادة فتعالى عما يشركون صدق الله العظيم. In these ayahs of Surah Al-Mu'minun, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is bringing proofs about His oneness and then some proofs about His existence. If you think about it, it seems that first thing we should talk about existence and then we should talk about oneness. Because if He exists, then we need to prove that He is the only one in His attributes. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala first thing talked about His oneness and then He proved His existence. And the reason is very simple, that most of the disbelievers that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam had to deal with were those who believed in the existence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They did not deny the existence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Their kufr was of the shirk type, which means associating partners with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We hear a lot about kuffar of Quraysh, the main people that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam had to deal with. And their problem was shirk. It wasn't denying the existence of Allah. Their main thing was shirk, associating partners with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The other groups that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam dealt with was Jews and Christians. And they also believed in the existence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And again, their problem was shirk, associating partners with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. How? Inshallah, we'll go into little details of it. So Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, since he had to deal with mushrikeen, therefore Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala first thing revealed the ayahs that were related to the situation of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam at that time. And since there are other people in the world, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knew there will be people in future who would deny the existence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, therefore Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala then talked about His existence also. So that if there are people who deny the existence of Allah, their problem is not shirk. Their problem is the existence of Allah, believing in the existence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then these ayahs will deal with those people and there will be proof in Quran about the existence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. First thing, let us quickly look at this shirk. What is shirk? And why shirk is wrong? What is wrong with associating partners with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? if you analyze why people are doing shirk, we would realize that people who are doing shirk, they have totally wrong understanding about the Rabb subhanahu wa ta'ala. They feel that Rabb subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, is very limited in His power, in His attributes. And He needs some helpers. He needs some supporters. He needs someone to do His work for Him. When these people look at the number of people in the world and their needs, in reality, if a person would just use his mind thinking about how many needs each person has. I mean, day and night we have needs. How many needs each person has. And then each and every person turning to God for his needs. And then God has to run the system of the world. So they think about it. With all of this work, he may not be able to make it. We don't think he can do all of that work. Wal-iyaz billah. If he's hearing the people to the call of the people of the Middle East, then we will have to wait in line for a long time. And if he's feeding people in our country, and I need food at this time, then I would be waiting for there for a long time. This is mainly their understanding about Rabb subhanahu wa ta'ala that is very limited. Cannot do all of these things at once. So what they do is they associate factors with Allah. They say, MashaAllah, Allah is great. Allah is the creator. But after He created, wal-iyaz billah, wal-iyaz billah, then you see that He got very busy with it. And He's so busy now that He does not have time to listen to us. And therefore, now we need someone who we can go back to this person. If all of us will start turning to God, then we will be very busy. So they say, let's organize it now. This is the word, how people think. They are looking at Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala just like the principal in a university. That if every student would go directly to him, then he would be too busy. So now let's organize it. That every class, if they have a problem, they would go to their teacher. And all teachers, then there are thousands of teachers. It's a huge university. So then there are moderators. And then these teachers will turn to them. And then this is how the system runs. So finally, the word will get to the principal, but through different channels. Because if all of us will go to the principal, then there will be a huge line outside of his office, and we all won't get the chance to talk to him. So this is why they started associating partners to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wal-iyaz billah, that if we all will talk to Allah and we start presenting our needs to Allah, then wal-iyaz billah, we won't get a chance, He will be too busy. So now we should organize it, and they are assigning different idols for different things. This idol is for risk. So anyone needs risk here, you go and turn to this idol. Then this idol will take your needs to wal-iyaz billah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, مَا نَعْبُدُهُمْ إِلَّا لِيُقَرِّبُونَا إِلَى اللَّهِ زُلْفَى. We worship them only so that they get us closer to Allah. So it's not that they deny the existence of Allah. Very quickly, since we talked about this, may be easy at this time to understand another very important point, that as soon as we say shirk, and we attribute shirk to Christians and Jews, attributing shirk to Christians, very understandable by every Muslim, that having Son of God and then worshipping Him and believing in Trinity, that's very obvious. But when a person says shirk in the Jews, right away some people have their reservation to believe that there was any shirk. And then some of us, we try to say, because there was a group of them who believed that Uzair alayhi salam was son of God. وَقَالَتِ الْيَهُودُ عُزَيْرٌ ibn Allah. But then right away the question comes, that group does not exist anymore, so that simply means nowadays there is no shirk. But when you analyze this shirk, what is shirk, why people are doing shirk, we just looked at it, that they are doing the shirk because they feel God is very limited with His attributes. And God needs support. He needs help. As He created the world, He got too busy. He got too tired. And we see the same concept over there, where the world was created in 6 days. What did God do the seventh day? What does the Bible say? He rested. God had some rest on the seventh day. For what? 6 days he works very hard, so he's tired. So he needs some rest. So the seventh day he rested. What does this mean now? Compare this with what mushrikeen are doing. On the seventh day, when he's resting, who's going to do all of that work? I need him on Sunday. What will happen now on Saturday? According to them, Saturday is the day of rest. So if I need something on Saturday, what am I going to do? So, this concept of God resting by self proves the same thing, the same understanding. It's only putting it in a different way. That day he's resting. Who's doing his work? They don't know. Sometimes the explanation would come, angels will keep on doing the work, because he had assigned the work to them. So does it mean that if angels will stop doing the work, the whole system will stop? God depends on the angels on running the system of the world. Just like a company depends on the workers. If the workers will go on a strike, then there will be no production that day. This is how people are looking at Rabb subhanahu wa ta'ala wa na'yadu billah. In fact, if you go in more depth, you will see that there is even more than this. Just like God getting very frustrated, very upset about creating the world and creating human beings after seeing so much corruption in the field, and He says that I wish I would not have created all of these people. If I knew that these people would do all of this, I would not have created them. See the limitation now, how they are applying limitations to Rabb subhanahu wa ta'ala wa na'yadu billah. And the story of Yaqub alayhi salatu was salam, when he was wrestling with someone, he's wrestling with the person, and finally Yaqub alayhi salam wrestles the person down, and then only he finds out that this was God. And he had wrestled God down, and he didn't even know that all of that, and he wrestled with him throughout the day. And he didn't know that was God. Just imagine if God is just busy wrestling with one man. What happens here? See, the concept is the same. We can see here where the doors of the shirk are opening up. In the sifat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in the attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not unique. It's not لم يكن له كفوا أحد. There is nothing like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. No, there are people like وَالْعِيَاذُ بِاللَّهِ, in fact more powerful here in this situation. There are people who are more knowledgeable وَالْعِيَاذُ بِاللَّهِ. When you start looking at the description of the Bible about the attributes of God. So there are a lot of limitations that they apply to God, to Rabb subhanahu wa ta'ala, into His attributes. And this is exactly what shirk is all about. When a person feels that someone else can do what God does, someone else is as powerful as God is, someone else is as knowledgeable as God is, or God is very limited with His knowledge. He didn't know what these people would do in future. He created them, and later on he finds out that they were not good people. I wish I would not have created them. This is the limited knowledge of God, and this is why even those people, they cannot understand qada and qadar, the destiny, because what is destiny? It's nothing but the knowledge of Allah. Allah's knowledge about everything that will happen in future. But they cannot understand it. The reason is His knowledge is limited. As you read the story in the Bible about Adam alayhi salam committing the sin and then hiding behind the tree because he's ashamed, and God comes, looks for him, he couldn't find him. And he keeps on calling around, he looks around and calls, Adam, Adam, where are you? And he says, I'm hiding behind the tree. And this is the Bible. This is the attributes of God. So we see that the concept is very same, the understanding is very same about Rabb subhanahu wa ta'ala. So they are not denying the existence of Allah, but associating partners in different forms. Some people are associating partners in order for God to be able to do His work, and then they go and beg these partners of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for help, wal-'iyadhu billah, so that they will go and present the needs to God, that okay, from my community, these are the needs, this is the list of things that people need. And every idol goes and turns to God and says, this is the list of things that I came up with. And some other people, they attribute partners to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in His attributes. In the attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that there are some people who are, wal-'iyadhu billah, as knowledgeable as God. There are some people who are as powerful as God. There are some people who can hear better than God, wal-'iyadhu billah, and similar type of things. So making a lot of partners to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in His attributes. And we know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when we believe in the oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we believe in the oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in everything, in His existence, in the form of existence, the way He exists, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and in all of His attributes. That all the attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala are unique, are extremely unique, and no one in the world from the creation can have anything similar to that. So this is where the shirk comes in picture. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, بَلْ قَالُوا مِثْلَ مَا قَالَ الْأَوَّلُونَ. They said, like when the kuffar of Quraysh were approached by Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam about the oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam talked to them about the oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Their response was just like the response of the people before them. قَالُوا مِثْلَ مَا قَالَ الْأَوَّلُونَ. They said the same thing as the people of the past had said. Very amazing. Kuffar of Quraysh, when Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam approached them about the oneness of Allah, they had a response. You look at the response that was given to Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam was similar to the response of the kuffar of Quraysh. And then you look at the response given to Salih alayhi salatu wasalam, and to Hud alayhi salatu wasalam, to Nuh alayhi salatu wasalam. They all are the same. What's the reason? Why they all are having very similar response? The reason is the source of their information is the same. Shaitan al-Rajim. It very clearly tells us that Shaitan is the one that is convincing all of those people of the very same thing. They all are just bringing the very same excuse. They don't have any valid excuse, so they are just repeating these type of codes. We can see that these are whisper of Shaitan. There are sometimes you see people doing something wrong against the Sharia or not following the Sunnah. When you talk to the person, it's amazing. You find a person in this part of the world who would present an excuse to you, travel thousands of miles away from here, and see a person who's doing the very same thing and talk to him, he will present the exact similar excuse to you. They never have talked. It's not that they both had decided about it and that this is what we are going to say. But they both will say the same thing. You tell one person that, what's the reason you don't come to the masjid? He will tell you, I don't want to show off with my deeds. and coming on to the masjid, it looks like, I'm just showing off. Now you go to another part of the world, and you see a person who doesn't come to masjid, talk to him, he will tell you the same thing. You could see the shaitan is speaking. Speaking here and speaking there. It's not this person, this is the whisper of shaitan. Believe me, you meet so many people with similar type of sin, and you then get to see a person who's committing very similar type of sin in another part of the world, he will give you a very similar excuse. Something that I have experienced with myself. And this is only an example about the beard. You talk to someone, he would say the reason I'm not keeping it because I don't feel I'm a good Muslim yet. And I don't want to do something wrong and people will look down at Islam because of my beard. This is a person who would be in Buffalo and he will tell you this. Then go to another city, you will find a person you talk to him, he will tell you the exact same thing. Go to another part of the world, another country, the person will tell you the very same thing. No one is going to tell you that, oh, I'm sorry, I'm committing a sin. No, I'm doing a favor to Islam. See, this is exactly what Shaitan is convincing us, but in different words now. The person himself is feeling, I'm doing a great favor to Islam. All of these guys with beard, they are insulting Islam. The only person that is really concerned about honoring Islam and keeping the respect for Islam is me, because I have shaved it. Same excuse all around the world. As I said, whether it's salah, whether it's this, whether it's anything else, they will have very same excuse. It all tells that it's the whisper of Shaitan. Shaitan is whispering to the people, and he's convincing them of these reasonings. And this is why people from all around the world are having very same reason. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, بَلْ قَالُوا مِثْلَ مَا قَالَ الْأَوَّلُونَ. Look at the wording, it's very important. It looks very simple, we just pass through it. That they said the same thing as the people before them said. But why? It's because Shaitan convinced those people of the same thing, and he's convincing these people of the same thing. قَالُوا, what was the response of the people of the past? And their response, قَالُوا أَإِذَا مِتْنَا وَكُنَّا تُرَابًا وَعِظَامًا أَإِنَّا لَمَبْعُوثُونَ. They said that when we would die and become dust and bones, is it that we will be raised again? لَقَدْ وَعِدْنَا نَحْنُ وَآبَاؤُنَا هَذَا مِنْ قَبْلِ. This is what we and our forefathers had been promised even before this. إِنْ هَذَا إِلَّا أَسَاطِيرُ الْأَوَّلِينَ. This is nothing but the tales of the people of the past. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, the response was, you have been promising us the same thing, that we will come back to life. And previous Anbiya came, they kept on promising people the same thing. We have been hearing this for a long time, but we have never seen yet a single person coming back to life. People are not coming back to life, and we are just hearing it as promises here. They rejected it because they had applied their own condition to this. Anbiya alayhimu salatu wassalam are saying that there will be a day of resurrection. These people are saying, I have never seen it. Anbiya alayhimu salatu wassalam are not saying that the day of resurrection is today. They are not saying it's going to happen in the next 20 years and you would see it. All they are saying is, a day would come in the world when all the people will be resurrected back to life. And they will be standing before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But we have now, because we are very limited, I'm looking at 50 years, someone else looks at 100 years range, and someone else looks at 500 years. Oh, we have been, when this world is there for about so many thousand years, and no one came back to life. So what if the world has been there for so many thousands of years? Anbiya alayhimu salatu wassalam never said that it will happen tomorrow. They said it will happen. One day it will happen for sure. And if we really have a question about this information, the thing that we have to look at is this person truly a prophet of Allah or not? If we are convinced that he is a prophet of Allah, then whatever he tells us is true. And if he is not a prophet of Allah, then we don't have to believe him in anything. and everything else proved to them that he's a prophet of Allah. Now, the one about whom they are convinced by looking at his miracles, they are convinced that he is a prophet of Allah. When he tells them that a day will come when everyone will be resurrected, so they're saying it, we haven't seen that one now. They are finding this as an excuse to reject the prophet of Allah. We need to realize where the problem is coming from. The problem is that now they are convinced. By now they are convinced that he's a prophet of Allah. But the only reason they don't want to believe in this part now, because they haven't seen it. Just like a lot of times you tell someone about some of the rulings of Sharia, talking about our own people, our souls. You talk to someone about a ruling of the Sharia, and the person says, I never heard of it. A very common excuse. I never heard of it. As if this person have heard everything about Sharia. This is how he's presenting it. I never heard of it means this can be correct because I never heard of it. Whereas our knowledge about Sharia may not even be 0.1% of what the whole ruling of the Sharia are. Where all the proofs and all the details of the rulings of the Sharia, you may not even know 0.1% of it. But the very same person, he will just tell you, I never heard of it. So these people are denying it because they haven't seen it. That's all. And Anbiya alayhimus salatu wassalam are telling them that a time will come when you would see. And this is exactly what Iman bil Ghaib means. All the Anbiya alayhimus salatu wassalam, they preached Iman bil Ghaib. And that was one of the first requirements by Anbiya alayhimus salatu wassalam, that you believe in unseen. Alif Lam Mim, ذَلِكَ الْكِتَابُ لَا رَيْبَ فِيهِ هُدًى لِلْمُتَّقِينَ الَّذِينَ يُؤْمِنُونَ بِالْغَيْبِ. Those who believe in the unseen. So Iman bil Ghaib is a very important part of Aqidah, of belief. By things that are Ghaib, we cannot judge the Prophet. We cannot judge the Prophet by Ghaib. If he is telling us something that seems to be impossible, then he cannot be a Prophet. Looking at the prophethood has to be by other signs, whether they are miracles, or the personality, or the knowledge, whatever else are, maybe. But this would not be a criteria of judging a prophet, if he is a prophet or not, by seeing that how many things that he is mentioning that I cannot understand. Because Anbiya alayhimus salatu wassalam, if they would only tell us what we can understand, there is no need for them to show us any miracles. Then it's so clear that you know he's a prophet. So, the reason that we need the miracles, we need those special qualities in the prophets, in the Anbiya alayhimus salatu wassalam, so that a person would know that he's a prophet, now he would accept everything that would come from the prophet. If a person would say, I would not believe in anything that happens after this life because I haven't seen it, who will tell him, too bad for you, because the time you see it, it will be too late. Someone has been told about a forecast that if you go there, there is freezing rain. And I don't believe until I see it. Now he goes, he's in the middle of the highway and he sees the freezing rain, he is stuck over there. Now he believes, but what? He's already stuck. So a person doesn't want to believe that the fire is hot until he gets burned himself. And then only he would believe that, yeah, fire is hot. There are so many things in the world that we believe about them without seeing them. In fact, the matter of fact is, majority of things that we believe in, we haven't seen. For example, take a very, very simple example. How many cities in the world any one of us have seen? How many cities of the world that me and you have seen? And then compare the number of cities that you have seen with the number of cities that are in the world and you have not seen them. And we all believe in the existence of all of those cities. We all believe how many countries, forget, that's too detailed to go into the cities. How many countries we have seen. And we believe in the existence of all the other countries that we haven't seen. What is more, the number of countries that we have seen or the number of countries that we have not seen and we believe that they are there? See, we believe in the unseen. But of course that is not called Iman, because Iman is part of Aqidah, something that we believe in it, because we trust that person who is giving us the knowledge, and he told us this is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent this knowledge, this information to me so that I can pass it on to you. This is what all the miracles are for, so that we know that he is a prophet of Allah. And then when he talks about things that are ghaib, that are unseen to us, we don't start questioning him about those things. Things that are not understandable to us, we won't question him about those. We won't question him that how come there are 2 rak'ahs in Salat al-Fajr and 4 rak'ahs in Salat al-Zuhr. We won't question him that how come we recite Quran loudly in Salat al-Fajr and recite it silently in Salat al-Zuhr. We won't question him, because we know whatever he's bringing it from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Once we are convinced that he is bringing it from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then all we want to know is what Allah wants from me. Just tell me that. So this is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, that these people are questioning Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam because he is preaching to them the aqidah about akhirah, that a day will come when all people will be resurrected. Now we need 2 things. Number 1, to be sure that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said this, and of course we know according to the light of Quran and Hadith, that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam preached this aqidah, that there will be a day of resurrection. And Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, the second thing we need to know about him is that he is truly a messenger of Allah. Once we know these 2 things, then there cannot be any question about how can there be a resurrection, how people would come back to life, how can Allah put them together. All of these questions are immaterial now, because we know the truthfulness of the person. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that these people, their objection is that how could this happen? How can people be resurrected? لَقَدْ وَعِدْنَا نَحْنُ وَآبَاؤُنَا هَذَا مِنْ قَبْلِ. We and our forefathers, we all had been promised this even before this. So this cannot be true. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, ask them few questions. What are these questions? قُلْ لِمَنِ الْأَرْضُ وَمَنْ فِيهَا إِن كُنْتُمْ تَعْلَمُونَ. Say, who is the earth and all those that are in the earth, if you have knowledge. لِمَنِ الْأَرْضُ وَمَنْ فِيهَا. To whom this earth belongs to. And وَمَنْ فِيهَا. To whom does every living being that is on the earth belongs to. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, سَيَقُولُونَ لِلَّهِ. Soon they will say, they all belong to Allah. قُلْ أَفَلَا تَذَكَّرُونَ. Ask them, then you do not pay any heed, you do not understand. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is now bringing some proofs about his oneness. لِمَنِ الْأَرْضِ. You are associating partners with Allah. You are saying this idol and that idol. So tell me, who created the earth? Who owns the earth? These idols, of course, even they knew that these idols cannot do anything. Because they are the ones who made these idols. Idols did not make them, they made the idols. This was, of course, a well-known thing. And even today, those who are worshipping idols, there are people who worship idols. And not only this, that those idol worshippers that are like Hindus that are known about worshipping idols, even here in the churches, you see a lot of time people bowing down before idols. And if you ask the person, how old is this idol? There may be a history attached to it. That idol may be younger than him. I mean, idol was made after this person was born. Or it may even be, in some cases, the person himself made it. And then you make something out of plastic, out of wood, out of rock, out of stone, out of dirt. And then you go and bow down before him that I need some food. And the idol is idle. You don't hear nothing. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Quran, a lot of times, when He talks about idol worshipping, He says, وَيَدْعُونَ مِن دُونِ اللَّهِ مَا لَا يَضُرُّهُمْ وَلَا يَنْفَعُهُم. They keep on calling beside Allah things that cannot harm them or benefit them. When I was young, and I used to recite these kind of ayahs, I used to think a lot of times about why Allah always talks about la yadurruhum. They cannot harm. To my little understanding was, it would be better just to say they cannot benefit them. So you know that it doesn't benefit you when you go and worship. But harming you, they don't care if it's good. He cannot harm. But as we study and we learn and you see what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling you, realize that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us that these idols, forget about having any power of benefiting, they don't have no power at all. So even if they get upset and they want to harm you, they cannot even harm you. They cannot even harm you, which means they don't have no power at all. You expect benefit from them. They cannot benefit. They do not even have the power of harming. Because if you see, for example, if we just say they cannot benefit you, someone can say that they may have some power of harming. Okay, if I don't go and bow down before him, something will happen to me. Just like some people, a lot of people nowadays, when they are presenting their shirk and their kufr, they present it in this form of scaring people. People are not doing it because they are not following their instructions, because they are looking for some benefit, but they are like to protect themselves from some harm. For example, there was, I'm sure many of us may have seen that dream that people printed and give out copies of it, that someone saw, a sheikh saw a Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam in his dream, and somewhere, I don't know what the dream is. They present a dream and it's on the internet, and then if you read it, and if you don't print 5,000 copies of it, this is what will happen to you. So you see a lot of people, they print it and they put it out just with the fear, okay, it doesn't hurt to print it, but what if I don't do it and that's true? Then it will happen to me what he's saying about, and they're saying that there was a person who didn't print it out and he lost his job and another person lost his family. So the person is afraid. See, this is where the shirk is coming. It's making its way to us. And that is, see, it could harm you. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says no. It cannot harm, it cannot benefit. Not only that it won't benefit, so therefore you don't have to worship it. No, it cannot even harm if you stay away from it. They used to scare people about it. That, okay, we know that what Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam is saying is true. But just imagine, when you turn away from your idol worshipping, from these idols, and they get upset with you, what will happen? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala therefore is telling us, liable. They do not harm either. They don't have no power at all, neither for benefiting nor for harming. لمن الأرض ومن فيها. To whom all of this belongs to? Who is the owner of this earth? Who is the owner of every soul, every living being that is on this earth? So of course they would admit to the fact that Lillah, they all belong to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah is the owner of all of these. So then tell them, أَفَلَا تَذَكَّرُونَ? Then don't you understand? Don't you realize that if Allah is the owner of all of these things, how could you associate partners to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in His ownership? Just as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives a beautiful example in another ayah. The example says that if a person has wealth, a wealthy person, he has a good business and he has a lot of wealth, and he has some slaves that work for him. Would this person ever make his slaves that work for him his partners in the company? تخافونهم فهم فيه شركاء تخافونهم كخيفتكم أنفسكم, that they would become your partners and you would fear them just as you fear your own self, which means they are equally partnered in everything. Would you ever make your workers partners and equal partners in your business? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, you don't do this. Then why would you attribute partners to me that I created everything, and you know I created the mountains, I created the rocks, I created the trees, and you make something out of these things, and you say that now he became my partner? If you don't do it, why would I do it? قل من رب السماوات السبع ورب العرش العظيم. Ask them, who is the Lord of the seven earth and the Lord of the great throne? سيقولون لله. They will say, even that belongs to Allah. قل أفلا تتقون. Say, don't you then fear Allah? من رب السماوات السبع ورب العرش العظيم. Okay, there are a lot of people claiming a lot of ownership in this world. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, you look at the skies above you, who owns that? Then there are 7 heavens, one above another. Who owns all of that? Who is the owner of all of that? If he decides to throw anything from above, he decides today that he's going to throw the sun on our earth and destroy it, who can stop him from doing it? من رب السماوات السبع. Who is the Lord of the 7 heavens? And ورب العرش العظيم, and the Lord of this great throne. سيقولون لله. Tell them that fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If Allah is the owner of all of this, He is the one who's controlling all of this, then you see at the power of Allah. You see at Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's control over this universe, that not only on things that are around us, He controls even the things that are even out of our control. They are totally out of control. We have no say about them, but Allah has full control over them. And the skies is such. If a person would just keep looking at the skies and look at the greatness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that how human beings are so helpless. You know, we go into the sky in the airplane. As soon as a person like us, we go up, and how far are we going? 35,000 feet above the ground. And as we get up there, we start looking at everything is so small. We are 10,000 feet above the ground, and we look at everything. Houses are just like toys. And the whole town is just, you can see, it's under my control. I see the whole town. I can throw a rock there. On that person's house, I can do this. I mean, you see everything from above. And this is only when a person is 10,000 feet above the ground. We go 35,000 feet, we can't even see properly. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, just imagine now when I'm above everything, my kingdom is above everything, what this world means to me. It says in the books of history from the Israeliyat that a person asked Malakul Maut, the angel of death, that you have to take the soul and the life of so many people in the world. How can you manage to do this? Because someone lives in the east, the other person lives in the west, and then all of a sudden you have to run back and forth. There is another person next second who has to die there. So it says in the history that the angel of death, he took a small stone and he put it in the hand of this person, in the palm of this person, and he says to him that touch the right side of it. Then he says touch the left side of it. Touch the front, touch the back. And the person is touching it, as he's saying. So he says, this is how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala kept the dunya in front of me. This whole globe of your globe that you live in, this dunya is just like a small pebble in front of me. And wherever I want, I just touch that part. If this is an angel who has the whole thing in front of him, imagine Rabbul Alameen subhanahu wa ta'ala. When we were studying, our teacher once told us, Wallahu alam, what's the source of it, but he told us the story. He says a person was denying the greatness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and as Allah here in this ayah says, أَفَلَا تَتَّقُونَ, don't you fear Allah? And وَالْعِيَاذُ بِاللَّهِ, this person, his feeling was that, fear him for what? As if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala cannot do anything to me. A few days later, this person is resting in his home and he sees someone walks into the house. And he had heard a lot about jinns. So a little later he realized that this is a jinn that is in my house. So as soon as he sees the jinn is in his house, and the jinn is walking towards him and started talking to him, he runs out of his home. And he goes and he's straight to the house of the Imam. There is jinn in my house. He's following him. He says, are you scared of him? It's too scary. He says, jinn is created by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And jinns are scared of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You said you are not scared of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. How come you are scared of jinn? See, these small creations, creatures of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, jinns or snake, or even a dog, run after the person, you see the person is running away. And this is a person who feels that I'm not afraid, وَلَيَعْذُ بِاللَّهِ, of the sun. So, أَفَلَا تَتَّقُونَ, don't you fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? قُلْ مَنْ بِيَدِهِ مَلَكُوتُ كُلِّ شَيْءٍ وَهُوَ يُجِيرُ وَلَا يُجَارُ عَلَيْهِ إِن كُنتُمْ تَعْلَمُونَ. Say, who is the one who controls everything, all the kingdom of everything, and he gives protection and no protection can be given against him if you have knowledge. سَيَقُولُونَ لِلَّهِ. They will say, all of this belongs to Allah. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one who has the control over everything in this universe. وَهُوَ يُجِيرُ, and he is the one who gives protection. وَلَا يُجَارُ عَلَيْهِ, no one can give any protection against Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If a person has disobeyed Allah, he can go anywhere seeking refuge and protection against the azab of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There is no way that anyone can help that person against the azab of Allah. And if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants to save the person, no matter who in the world wants to hurt this person, harm this person, there is no way that a person, anyone, or the whole world together can do anything wrong to this person if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala decided to protect this person. And we see a simple example in the life of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. When all the kuffar made their final decision that we cannot let him escape from this town, we cannot let him stay alive, now that's it, we have made our final decision, we are going to kill him. And they go and surround his house also. And subhanAllah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala shows that he decided to protect his messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. He leaves home while the house is being surrounded by them. And no one sees him. Where does he go? He went in a cave. And they went up to the cave. And still they cannot see him. And what means are being used? We read in the history that there is a spider's web. And Quran says, وَإِنَّ أَوْهَنَ الْبُيُوتِ لَبَيْتُ الْعَنْكَبُوتِ. The weakest house is this spider's web, the web of the spider, that is the house for the spider, that is a very extremely weak. If you want to see the weakest house in the world, that is the one. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is using that to protect Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam from the kuffar of Quraysh. They look at the spider's web and they turn away, that how could he be in here? He doesn't need to bring all the big forces to do that. So, وَهُوَ يُجِيرُ وَلَا يُجَارُ عَلَيْهِ. He is the one who protects. We need to understand this. We need to really repeatedly recite this ayah and strengthen our aqidah about it, our iman about it, that Allah is the one who protects. And no one can protect against Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. No one can provide any protection against Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will open the door of the azab wal-'iyadhu billah, there is no one in the world that can stop that azab of Allah. Today, most of our power depends on the power that we have from the air, from the planes and these type of things. Just imagine if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will open the doors to the wind to blow everything away. Who has the power of doing anything? If everything starts getting blown away, and what do you need? Just the wind. Just that wind. And sometime when the wind blows, it looks like it's going to just take up all of our homes. And we see about the floods and how the waves, strong waves, the tsunami. What happened there? It was nothing but the wind. The wind is pushing the water and makes such strong waves that come and take the whole city. What is pushing all of this water? What makes all of this water come there? There's nothing but the wind. وَهُوَ يُجِيرُ وَلَا يُجَارُ عَلَيْهِ. He is the one who protects, and no one can protect against him. And this is why Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam taught us this dua, beautiful dua, لَا مَلْجَأَ وَلَا مَنْجَى مِنَ اللَّهِ إِلَّا إِلَيْهِ. That there is no refuge and there is no way of being saved from Allah except to turn back to Allah. A person who's afraid of a dog has to run away from the dog. A person who's afraid of a lion has to run away from the lion. A person who's afraid of his enemy that is pointing a gun to him, he has to run away from him. But Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam says, the beauty of our connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that if you have the fear of Allah, don't turn away and run away from Allah, run to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. لا ملجأ ولا منجا من الله إلا إليه. There is no protection and no way of being saved from azab of Allah, from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but to turn to Him. Turn to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allahumma inni astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Ya Allah, I seek your forgiveness. I repent to you. That's it. You protect yourself from the azab of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So, protection against the azab of Allah is not to run away from Allah. It's to run to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and take refuge in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from against his own azab. قُلْ فَأَنَّا تُسْحَرُونَ. So ask them, who has the kingdom of everything in this universe, and he is the one who provides the protection, who gives the protection, and no protection can be given against him if you have knowledge. سَيَقُولُونَ لِلَّهِ. Soon they will say that this all belongs to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. قُلْ فَأَنَّا تُسْحَرُونَ. Say to them, how can you be so bewitched? Who's doing some magic on you that turning you away from your Rabb? After knowing all of this, that it has to be only a magic that turns you away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What happens to you? Who's turning you away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? بَلْ أَتَيْنَاهُمْ بِالْحَقِّ وَإِنَّهُمْ لَكَاذِبُونَ. Rather, we have brought to them the truth, and they surely are liars. مَا اتَّخَذَ اللَّهُ مِنْ وَلَدٍ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has never begotten a son. وَمَا كَانَ مَعَهُ مِنْ إِلَهٍ. And there is no God beside him. مَا اتَّخَذَ اللَّهُ مِنْ وَلَدٍ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not have any son. وَمَا كَانَ مَعَهُ مِنْ إِلَهٍ. And they are now final. This is the final decision that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is presenting, that after all of this, everyone should realize that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has no partners, He has no relationship with anyone. مَا اتَّخَذَ اللَّهُ مِنْ وَلَدٍ وَمَا كَانَ مَعَهُ مِنْ إِلَهٍ إِذًا لَذَهَبَ كُلُّ إِلَهٍ بِمَا خَلَقَ. If this was the case, had it been partners to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, لَذَهَبَ كُلُّ إِلَهٍ بِمَا خَلَقَ. In that case, every God would have taken away everything that He has created. وَلَعَلَى بَعْضُهُمْ عَلَى بَعْضٍ. And each of them would have been aggressive against others. Subhanallah amma yasifun. Pure is Allah from what they describe. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala now is concluding this topic of shirk, that there is no partners to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If there were partners to Allah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that لَذَهَبَ كُلُّ إِلَهٍ بِمَا خَلَقَ. Every God would have taken his own creation, things that he has created, and goes on his own way. That I don't want, today I'm upset with this God, so I take all of my things and I go away, move out of this home, go to another place. So every God in that situation will be totally independent of another God. Every God will be totally independent. Today in Jum'ah, I was explaining this in brief as the topic came of shirk. And that is, when we say that there is more than one God, there will be three options. One is, both of these gods, they depend on each other. They totally depend on each other. One created half of the world, the other created the other half of the world, and they both depend on each other. My cloud comes on your side, and my people are coming on your side. So they depend on each other. Or one created animals, the other one created the vegetation. So now the animals need to eat the vegetable. Oh, your animals are eating my vegetables. So either both of them will be dependent on each other. And of course this is a big defect in being a God, that one God is dependent. God has to be totally independent. And now here we see a God that is totally dependent on another one. Or the other option would be that they both don't depend on each other, but one of them depends on the other one. So then of course, one is powerful and the other has no power. So you can fire him whenever he wants. That cannot be a God. Then shirk is out, because there is only one who is in power. Or the third choice is only that they both are totally independent of each other. They don't depend on each other. And then we have a worse problem than the first two. And that is, this God says that I'm independent. The other God says I'm independent. And each God is very limited with his power, because there is another one who's totally independent of him. There is another God that is totally independent of him, and that God would do whatever he wants. Even if this God doesn't want rain today, that God will say, I will do it. And he's independent, so I don't care of what you say, because you can't do nothing to me. He's independent. So, and if they don't go into each other's territories, then they are very limited with their power. That my God, I'm God of this country. People of that country, you need to worship the other one. See, now when they are independent, where the problem comes? There is a major problem there. That then, each God is very limited with his power. And that cannot be a God. Rabb subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one who has the full power. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this is what he's saying, إِذَنْ لَذَهَبَ كُلُّ إِلَهٍ بِمَا خَلَقَ. Every God will take things he has created and go in his own way. وَلَعَلَى بَعْضُهُمْ عَلَى بَعْضٍ. And when they get angry, then one of them will be aggressive against other. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Subhanallah amma yasifun. Pure is Allah from whatever they describe. And in reality, when you look at shirk, really shirk has no basis. The reason is, you look in this world. This is the rule of the world, that everything finally goes back to one source. There has to be one source of everything. When you start tracking things back, there will be one source for everything. For example, we get a lot of food What's the main source of the food? If you look at it, it's coming from under the ground. This is the source of it. So there is one source. A lot of heat in the world and the light in the world. What's the source of it? The sun. All of it goes back to that one. Everything, if you start tracking it back,